Hello everybody, my name is Pravus, and welcome back to more Bio Inc. Redemption! Having some fun in the Sandbox mode. We're gonna go for another life game today. I think we'll try to treat a certain number of diseases, if possible, in the next 300 days. Still kind of putting us under the gun. Of course, the problem with treating diseases is we are now entirely dependent on the AI actually evolving diseases and not just risk factors. Otherwise, they can literally beat us just by running out the clock. That would suck for a number of reasons. We'll start with 8. So the AI only has to evolve 7 more for us to potentially win this. But 15 in 300 days, that should be possible. I'm going to bump the AI difficulty up to 5. I think that should be fine. I will give us a slight boost to the resources and the harvesting, simply because there are no upgrades, and obviously that makes it very difficult to get enough points to do much. Starting with 20 bio points gets me going, if nothing else, and I think this seems reasonable. Let's go ahead and get started. Hopefully we find ourselves able to save this Jane Doe from a mysterious attacker that is inflicting all manner of diseases upon her. All right, what else we got? So, you are taking a frick ton of damage in the renal system specifically. Well, if that is the case, you probably have a high-level issue in, let's say, the kidneys here for the chronic kidney failure. This feels exceptionally likely to me. Probably not lupus nephritis. You can't get this unless the AI also picked up lupus. Urinary tract infection, certainly possible. Kidney stones, I feel like we'd be seeing a bit more damage and a few other symptoms, but maybe? Let's see, what else is taking damage? Not the muscular system, but yes, the immune system. So I think it's unlikely that we have kidney stone issues, though the urinary tract infection is certainly possible, given that these only affect the urinary system. But I think chronic kidney failure is highly likely. We're going to go for an early kidney biopsy, see if we can detect and rule out a lot of those diseases ASAP, prevent this patient from taking too much damage. Because that is a lot of damage being done in a singular system right now. A lot of damage. Save up these points because I know that I'm going to have to do a lot in a little bit. Let's get down to this renal system, grab all of these, thank you, and sure enough, there it is. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take care of this ASAP. This is gonna get rid of a whole load of symptoms if we can cure all of these. I will start with the kidney transplant for fairly pricey but very efficient solutions. And the kidney system stuff are gonna be taking a bit longer, but that's okay. Nervous system is currently taking a fair bit of damage as well, but we have got to nail down this renal system ASAP. Otherwise, our patient is surely not going to survive much longer. Let's go for the cyst surgery, remove all of those. Okay. Now, the nervous system can affect quite a few other things if that is what the AI has decided to target next. So let's be wary that chronic fatigue and stuff would be showing off damage in quite a few systems, that means to say. Swelling and bruising and joint pain just began. Well, that implies, possibly, something is being hit in the skeletal system next. I don't know for sure if that's the case. That is just sort of the implication I'm taking out of this. Let's go ahead and grab all these points. And let's get rid of you next. Okay, so that reduces the damage a lot, but it's certainly not out of the way. I still sort of suspect that a urinary tract infection is playing a role. A urinalysis would eliminate that possibility as well as detect the urinary incontinence, if that is the case. Workaholism certainly doesn't help with the nervous system, but at least the AI didn't go for something in the renal system where the most damage is already being done. So that's not quite as dangerous. Sure enough, urinary tract infection is a thing. Let's go ahead and grab the antibiotics. I'm trying to prevent the AI from going for kidney stones. Urinary incontinence. Very cheap, ultimately, for me to fix if I go for things like the bladder training. Mood swings definitely means that something is going on here in the nervous system. We should probably be paying attention to that next, since that is the next vulnerable system due to the workaholism as well as the amount of damage that is actively being done. So only do. Oh, I just clicked off the game like an idiot. There we go. No, I want these points. That sucks. Didn't mean to click off, but what can you do, right? If we got some lifestyles, obviously we could offset a lot of the damage that's being done. The problem is that would waste a lot of valuable points. I'm not very eager to do that if I don't have to. Also, sometimes I find that going for lifestyles and improving and healing systems can kind of hide or mask where damage is being done, which can make it a little bit harder to actually figure out what's wrong. Let's go over the bladder training. I'm just going to do the cheap one for now. We don't need the expensive treatments. I just need to solve the problems we have at the moment. 4 out of 15 diseases that have been treated so far. That's not a lot. At this point. I feel like we've diagnosed a fair bit, but we haven't actually cured much. All right, so burnout and chronic stress are all factors. Okay. Major depression could be. It would do damage to literally every system. We'd be seeing a fair bit being done to, let's say, the digestive system if that were the case. So I think depression's not the case. We could get rid of the burnout ASAP. Prolonged sick leave would work very well, and it's very cheap. We're going to do that. Also going to take the anxiolytics for the nervous breakdown, and that leaves chronic stress with things like stress management therapy, which would be good. And take a look at that. Take care of things like that, and actually the patient's looking fairly close to cured. Loss of reflexes. Now that's a very specific symptom. I don't know what could be causing it, but still, did I just see that there's some depressed thoughts going on here? Depressed and suicidal thoughts. I don't know if that's a risk factor or if that indicates that depression was just taken on. Loss of reflexes as well as confusion. Damage is being done across the board all of a sudden. The AI might have actually just grabbed that before I could fix the burnout. If so, that was relatively clever of them. I think we have to go for a psychiatric assessment. This also would test for dementia and see if it's gone that direction, which could potentially help me save the nervous system there too. So let's save up some points and see what happens. Back pain just began. Well, I was thinking that, you know, back pain implies things like kidneys, but could very well be that the AI... Well, here's the thing. I'm assuming that the AI is not allowed to pick up things that I've already... Wow, both dementia and major depression. What do you know? Let's go for the antidepressants. I know it's only 50% effective, but I'll take what I can get. Anyway, back pain would imply to me things like kidney stones and such. I would assume the AI is not allowed to pick up things that have already been cured, or after things that have been cured, because that's not what I'm allowed to do when I play in death mode. But that doesn't mean that the AI isn't cheating in some way. It could very well be the case. I probably shouldn't always make that assumption. Let's try to rule out other things first, but maybe... Let's get up over here and take care of the dementia. Now, Alzheimer's is unlikely. Some damage being done now in the skeletal system. Back pain, joint pain, and swelling and bruising. You could have arthritis. Would explain a little bit, but I think you're taking too much damage in the skeletal system for that to be the only culprit. Osteoporosis or rickets would explain a fair bit. You could have Paget's disease. I don't feel like you're taking enough damage in the muscular system for that to be the case, but maybe. How much damage is being done in the nervous system? Still getting some. What else could be impacting the nervous system beyond what I've already done? Muscle weakness just began. Muscle weakness. Again, lending credibility to things like rickets or Paget's disease. I kind of feel like we need to do a bone biopsy. It could rule out a lot of stuff and save me tons of points if that is the case. And we're about halfway through and only have half the diseases taken care of. I feel like we may have to do the big plays to try and save myself points, because otherwise we're not going to have enough gas to do anything. Dementia's taken care of. Remember, if our patient does go to the emergency room, we get things for a little bit cheaper, which is nice. Saves me quite a few points, and our diagnoses and stuff are faster, but yeah, no, not going to worry about that right now. 10 out of 15 diseases. We have made some pretty good progress, though. If we can detect the bone biopsy and find out that something is wrong there, that's going to detect enough that we're going to get very close to victory. No. Okay, so no Paget's disease. Well, a bone x-ray would also test for a handful of these things. Blood calcium tests, I think, are the only... Well, a bone scan would test for it, but the bone calcium test is the cheaper way to go. We could go for some lifestyles and save up the patient a little bit. The thing is, I do want the patient to go to the ER. Going to the nervous system, letting that tank a little bit, getting me some cheaper options is actually a path to victory. Oh, wow. Okay, you've got a lot of stuff. Let's go ahead and get rid of the freaking bone fracture. So arthritis is, in fact, a factor. We actually may have just detected almost enough diseases to just win. Got to get enough points for that first, but that was a pretty huge diagnosis just now. Glad that I ended up going for that. Very glad that I ended up going for that. Nervous system still taking damage, though. So what causes that? Not arthritis, not rickets, and not osteoporosis. Something else should be at roll here. Could it be breast cancer? You're not taking enough... Well, no, you're not taking any immune damage. Lupus nephritis, no, not if they don't have lupus. That is a prerequisite. I know that for sure. could have grabbed something else. Parkinson's? No. Hemiparesis, this could be. I want to do a neurological exam and test. That might be unnecessary, but I want to test. I don't care that has lower efficiency. I'll take it anyway. We need to get some calcium supplements inside this lady. We're going to have to find whatever the last one is. There's one more symptom that's hiding somewhere. Okay, no hemopariasis. Well, cool. We got to rule that out. Reduce my score a little bit. Oops. Let's go for the osteoporosis. No, we can't. Let's go for the bone calcium supplement stuff. Where's some of that damage? Something is still causing damage in the nervous system. I'm somewhat wary of this. What could it be? We're most of the way through, almost 2/3 of the way through our timer, so we can't sit around on this for too much longer. Cursed with poor genetics. After they're already born, they have been cursed by a witch. And the witch said, "Thou shalt has terrible genetics." Because this witch is a horrible, horrible person. All right, let's go ahead and grab that. Joint pain is all that remains. Now, I know we ruled out Paget's disease and stuff earlier, but I still feel like it's one of these. It's not lupus. There's no photosensitivity involved here. It can only be these two things, which means the guaranteed way to find out what the AI just evolved is to do another bone biopsy. Oh yes, I understand bone biopsies are exceptionally painful, and we just did that, Jane Doe. I get it. But sometimes, mysterious factors are at play here. God has decided to curse you with additional skeletal issues, and in this case, we can rule out both for sure. Skin rash, swelling, and bruising just began. Okay, well that could be a number of things. Come back to that in a minute. Let's find out what the bone biopsy says. Bone death. All right. What does it take to cure bone death? Anti-inflammatory drugs or biphosphonates? 9 points for the faster, better solution. Would like to do that. That's enough. Let's go ahead and do that. And this should be enough diseases cured. So the patient still hasn't gone to the ER despite the fact that their nervous system is about to explode upon them. This person, there we go. Oh, now we go to the emergency room. Yeah, I feel like you should have done this months ago. It's been 200 summit days of you feeling a little bit ill, then your nervous system suddenly started to fall apart, and only now you're thinking, fine, I'll go to the doctor. Whatever, we just gotta wait out of the clock now. Patient's gonna be fine, bone death, here we go. Grab these points, doink, phew! Get some extra points, and we get a better score. Okay. That was a little bit tougher. I mean, we were starting to run lower on time, and honestly running out of diseases to treat. I do think that the AI was smart going for the risk factors and not diseases, because if they had just, kept back on diseases, they would have went out of the clock and I would have lost. Would have been a smart thing to do. 8 months of medical treatments, only 187% diagnosis efficiency. I'm losing my touch, guys. It's a problem. With 3,146 points overall, not that bad. That was fun, though. We got to keep finding ways to ramp up the difficulty in ways that actually make sense and aren't horribly, horribly unfair. Well, for now, I think we're okay, though. Thank y'all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If so, then I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.